Hello. How are y'all today? Good. All right, let me get my paperwork out. I'm not going to do a PowerPoint. I'm not very good with all the PowerPoint deals, and I'd end up screwing it all up. So I've got I've got some handouts that I'll give you guys that I thought would be important, you know, as far as a resume critique goes and some of the things that we do. And then otherwise, I'm just going to be kind of flipping through my notes and going through some things. But it's going to be pretty casual. So I would love for you guys, if you guys want to stop me, feel free to. If there's something that doesn't make sense or is confusing, obviously, hand up and we'll stop and we'll go through all that. Okay? Sound good? Again, my name is Michelle Bateman. I am with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. I've been with Enterprise for about 9 years now. I started with them straight out of college. I went to Northern Illinois and was a marketing major with an emphasis in sales, and started on board. To be honest with you, when I first started, I interviewed with Enterprise and had them critique my resume, never with an intention to work for them though. I thought, why would I work for them? I don't like vehicles. I want to be in sales. They rent cars. So little did I know, by interviewing with them, I found out a whole lot more, that there was a lot more than just renting cars with Enterprise. So I moved down. I started in Rockford, Illinois. Anyone know where that is? Yeah? Anyone from there? I'm actually from Freeport. We are the home of the Freeport pretzels. The Fighting Pretzels. Have you heard of that? So I always say our poor janitors, they always had bags of pretzels that the opposing team would bring in and stomp on them when they'd play the pretzels. And our slogan was, you can eat us, but you can't beat us. So a lot of people know Freeport through the Freeport pretzels. But anyhow, so then I moved down to Bloomington almost 7 years ago. And I got into recruiting and have been a recruit in HR basically ever since. So I look at a ton of resumes. They're, obviously with every different position and so forth that you're looking for, different recruiters look for different things. So I'm going to give you my perspective as far as business goes and sales go. So, I actually do some resume critiques at all the colleges, and once in a while I'll have an engineer or accounting major come up, and I'm a little lost with some of that stuff because I don't know exactly what they want you to have on your resume. So again, this is going to be geared a little more towards business sales type of positions, okay? But I'll be happy to answer questions for you, and if I don't know it, I'll let you know that, okay? Again, the one other thing I wanted to say is that obviously your Career Center has got tons of resources for you as far as resume writing, critiquing. They do that here. So again, I'm just going to give you a little different perspective of an employer side of it and go that route, okay? We're going to just do a quick pop quiz. I mean, it's painless. It's 3 questions, okay? So raise your hand, or actually, if I'm going to do an A and a B. So tell me what you think the purpose of a resume is. Is it to get a job or to get an interview? Those of you that think it's to get a job, raise your hand. Okay, a couple. What about to get an interview? Absolutely. Obviously, your resume is not going to get you the job. It's going to get you the interview, and the interview then will hopefully get you that job that you're looking for. What about this one? And I'm sure you've all heard this before. Now it's just remembering the exact amount of minutes or seconds. You've heard that you spend all this time doing a resume and an employer will look at it for a total of 10 seconds, 30 seconds, 2 minutes, or 5 minutes. So those that you think 10 seconds, raise your hand.
Depends on how many applications are on.
Okay, all right. How about 30? Okay, quite a bit. What about 2 minutes? 5 minutes? You're all right on. About 30 seconds. So, it's one of those things that you spend so many hours on, possibly even more time that you'll spend on creating a resume than you even do practicing for the actual interview. And then an employer really only looks at it for, 30 seconds. You can spend days. You can have it critiqued by several different people, the Career Center. And again, unfortunately, it is true. It's a quick glance, and each employer knows exactly what they're looking for. So that's why it's important today, and we're going to go through some of those things as well. So True or false? My resume needs to be eye-catching. I should use neon orange paper, big fonts, and pictures of myself. True or false? You all know that, yeah. Obviously, it's false. There's a lot of people, though, that do not know that. In fact, I've had some people that put their religion, how many kids they have. I had one put their weight on it. I'm not joking about that. I was actually trying to find it before I thought about it. Right when I was getting here, I was trying to find, I have files of them and so forth, and of some funny ones. Other ones I just toss, but some that are really interesting, I will, black out their name and bring them, and I couldn't find it quick enough. But yeah, and then they'll put pictures on. I mean, there's no need to put a picture on. In other countries, they do require that. I believe it's China that they want you to do that, but not here. So just make sure that, and a lot of this you guys have already heard, so I'm just trying to reiterate that. Do not put that on. All right, so we're going to do an overview of writing a resume. How many in here have a resume? Excuse me. Okay, good. How many are freshmen? Couple? Sophomores? Juniors? Okay, seniors. Okay, so looks like we're junior or freshman, sophomore, juniors. Okay. Basically, the resume is going to start off. You want to, from your sophomore year on, I have actually a cousin that's going to school here now, and so she's basically had the same job. Her parents own a restaurant, and she's worked there for quite some time. And I've talked to her about this. I'm like, you know what? It's comfortable there, but you really need to get out there and get some different experience, especially with the field that she's going in. So as far as sophomore on, we always say it's time to now start really thinking about what you want to do when you graduate, what your field is, and get a job that is along those lines. So for instance, if it's sales, make sure that you're not just looking for a job to collect a paycheck, but it's really going to look good on your resume, especially for those internships. They're going to ask you, and a lot of times I'll have a student say, "I'm just a sophomore. How am I going to get that experience if you don't give it to me?" Well, there's a lot of different ways, and again, sometimes people will say, "Well, I don't have any business-to-business sales experience," and a lot of people that are looking for candidates in business, whether it's management or sales, customer service, are not expecting that you have that crazy business-to-business hardcore sales experience. But there's a lot of other jobs out there that you can gain that good experience from. For instance, obviously, working at a restaurant. A lot of people are, think, "Oh, I got to find a different job. This isn't giving me that experience." However, if you're doing a lot of upselling or suggestive selling, which I know a lot of restaurants do have you do that as, a waiter or waitress, they'll have you, upselling drinks or suggesting different food items on the menu to, get higher tickets. So that's one of the ways. Obviously, restaurant industry is going to give you great customer service experience as well, dealing with customers. Same thing with retail. You're, again, upselling or suggesting different things for different customers that come in that are looking for different items, whether it be decor or clothing, suits, what have you. So those are all, good things to get on your resume, or to look at jobs along those lines if you're looking at something along the lines of sales or customer service or management and so forth. So just remember that to get that good experience starting now, okay, if you haven't already. Let's see here. Again, I don't think there's a whole lot out there as far as unpaid internships. There's still some, but again, if it's going to give you that experience that you're looking for when you graduate and you have to take an unpaid internship, it's probably a good thing to do. I know at Enterprise we do have paid internships, but if it's something that you're looking for that's going to really look great on your resume, I would suggest doing it. Okay? All right. Again, the other thing that we always say is, you need some money now and you want the money now, but if you don't have that good experience on your resume, there are a lot of people out there, and I'm sure you've all heard this right now, especially with the economy the way it was and so forth, that are still looking for jobs because of their resume. They didn't have that good work experience that companies, employers, recruiters were looking for. Okay. You all know that on a resume, 1 page, correct? No, do not do 2 pages. There's no reason that you need 2 pages, especially if you're a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. I don't even have 2 pages. It's too much information on there. Unless you are a top exec somewhere and you just have, a ton of relevant, experience, then we can talk at that point. But at this point, there's no reason that you need to have that. You don't need to put any high school information on there. Again, you should have enough college experience that you can put on your resume. I know a lot of people love to talk about, their high school days and relive them, but they're over, and you're now in college, and you need to find that good experience here. Mm-hmm.
Did you put jobs you had during, that maybe started when you were in high school?
Yeah, you can. Yes, you can. But again, you're not going to put the captain of the football team on your resume for high school. Let's just, we're not going to do that. If you can mention it as far as leadership, depending on what level you're at. If you're a freshman, you did just graduate, so that is probably the last job that you had, and that is definitely okay. Again, as long as it's relevant, job info. Okay, if it has nothing to do with the job that you're looking for, you're interviewing for, then don't put it on. Okay. If you're a sophomore, and you have to go back to that, and it's relevant to what you're looking for, you can, but you should really by now be getting some other experience. And again, now some may say, but I've got, I'm financing my own schooling and I can't get that job. Then that is okay as well, but then you better be involved in a lot of different activities. I was told that, I'll never forget that, when I was in college. And I didn't get why. And now as a recruiter, I completely understand that if you do not work while you're in school, then you need to be involved in some sort of leadership activity. Okay? Okay, so you're going to have personal information on there, your career objective on there. You're going to have education, work experience. I'm going to show you, in my opinion, and I'll get past some of these out, and if we need more, I'm sure that the Career Center can make some copies, or I can get them to you by email or some sort. But on a great resume that I think is, and again, other people are going to have different. If you're graphic design, they may say that's really boring. I don't want that. So, but again, we're talking more of, along the business line. Okay. So I'll give you one of these. You're going to have, additional experiences, any awards and honors. So this is kind of how it's going to look when you're doing this. Professional skills, and then references, of course, are always going to go on a separate sheet. You don't even need to, at this stage of the game, add that second sheet of references. Again, you've seen that where they put references available upon request. So put that down there, okay? So, so if we're going to go back to the start of it, your personal information, make sure that, and actually let me hand this out to you guys so you guys can kind of follow along with me and see what I'm talking about here. You want to just pass these? I'll take a few of these and go this route. I didn't take very many. Pass those. Okay, so personal information. Make sure that obviously your name is at the top of it. Do not use nicknames or anything like that. So put your full name on there. Use a professional email address. There's some people that had those high school emails that were cute and funny, sexy legs at whatever.com or too hot for you, you need to get a new one if you have anything like that. And again, hopefully that is, just something that you already knew, but just in case, a recruiter sees that and you're already somewhat of a joke to them. So you better have a great resume if you've got a funky email address like that. So again, Hotmail, Yahoo, all of those, you can create a new email address, and I would suggest doing it, okay? Maybe you can have one professional and then one for your friends. So do that. And then you also want to put on there, and you can see it. Did everybody get one? Oh, we've got more. Here we go. You want to pass it? If I don't have enough, maybe you guys can share and I can get you another. So again, this is clean and it's easy to read. You want to capture the recruiter or whoever's looking at your resume's attention. So they, first of all, want to see obviously your name and all that they can, if they need to contact you, they can do that. Second of all, you want to make sure that you've got your home phone and then your school phone so they can reach you. Okay, so many times they just will put one. People even forget to put the area code. And I have a lot of candidates that are from the Chicagoland area, but I work here. So I don't know what the area code is, and then they're done. I can't even get a hold of them. If they've got their email, that's a way to do it, but make sure that you have both if you can. And again, the way that this is set up is perfect. You
should put both addresses on there?
You can. I'm talking phone numbers.
Okay.
Yeah.
This one looks like it has both addresses.
You can put both, you mean home addresses? Yeah, you can certainly do that. Or if you don't want to do that, because a lot of times recruiters will send you information, and a lot of times if you're going home for the summer and you're not going to stay here on campus, they want to have that address as well, especially for internships or when you do graduate, if you go home, back home, live with mom and dad for a while to save money. So that's why they want that on there. Okay. Then as far as objectives, I don't know if you've been told, a lot of people are saying that you don't necessarily need one. Go ahead.
That's why I just had mine critiqued. And like, for this upcoming internship fair, if we're peddling around to a lot of different employers, do you want an objective? Or, I mean, you got to make it so vague to the point where, or you got to tailor each one to each different.
And that's what, ideally, if you can, obviously, are you all going to the fair Friday? Okay. If you can, and ISU, I'm assuming, gives you a handout. You know, for the most part, who's going to be there, right? Do you? Okay, and you know who you're going to go see? Hopefully you've done your homework, okay? This is a whole nother presentation. But if you've done your homework and you know who's going to be there and who you want to see, let's say we always suggest at least that you've got 5 or more different employers that you want to see. So that's not that hard to tailor at least your 5 different resumes as far as the objective goes. Okay? You've heard the saying that everybody loves to hear their name and yada, yada, yada. Same thing with a company. It starts you off on the right foot when you go up to a recruiter or a company and you give your little quick elevator speech. Everybody knows that. So make sure that you aren't just handing a resume saying, and then you step back and just stare at them. Say, what do you want? What should I know about you? So again, make sure that when you're handing that, or even before you hand it, hi, my name is so-and-so, I'm a sophomore, I'm majoring in yada yada, and I'm really, impressed with your company. I've done some research and I would like to know a little bit more about this, okay? So real quick, it's simple. Then you give the resume, they quickly look at the objective and they see, oh wow, to obtain an internship with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. I'm already now impressed that you took the time, that you put my company's name on there. Now, make sure, though, that you're not all nervous, which you may be, and you fumble and you give the wrong one, and then you're shuffling papers, and and then you're like, oh gosh, and that's okay, that happens. We'll give you, nobody's gonna say, oh gosh, he didn't have his papers right, that's okay, but then it messes you up for the most part. Okay, so make sure that you've got everything ready to go, okay, in your portfolio type deal. And have those tailored. Now, you can have some generic ones for the people that you're like, oh, wow, I didn't plan on seeing these people, or I didn't see that they were on the list, and I really do want to talk to them, but I'm out of resumes. Make sure that you can have those generic ones, okay? And what I mean by that, and I'll give you some examples. Let's see here. Like, for instance, an objective, one of your, and this is really far-fetched, but don't say your objective is to be a lawyer if you're applying for a sales manager position. But we will have some of those. In fact, I've hired a lot of history majors. But if you can explain to me why, you were a history major, now you want to be involved in sales, and you have that experience to back it on your resume, That's perfectly fine. A lot of times people will say, I was really good at history. History is something I'm very interested in. However, I really don't want to teach history, and I don't think I want to be a lawyer. So, you know, I'm good at sales. I'm good at business. I've got this experience, and this is what I want to do. Great. Perfect. Okay. So, but again, make sure that you've got them tailored. Does that all make sense on how to do that? So again, by being generic, you know, you can always say, you know, to obtain a management trainee position with, you know, again, don't mention any company names, so I can utilize my whatever skills. Okay. And it doesn't have to be very long. You don't want it to be long and wordy because I'm not going to read all of that. Okay. Does that make sense? All right, let's move along. Okay, I was talking about some things not to do, like this, for instance. Trainee position in a real estate property management with the opportunity to contribute strong financial skills and relevant experiences. That's pretty wordy, though, but that's one of the examples they give. And then again, administrative role in a public relations firm with the ability to move into a marketing position. A lot of times HR is that way. A lot of people are HR majors, but they can't get right into that field. So you're going to take something different with the intention of getting into HR. Okay? I have my business cards back there as well, too. So if there's other questions that you guys want to ask, or if you want me to look at a resume of yours, I'll be happy to do so. You can give me a call. I'm just right down the street. Okay. So next thing is to put your education on. So your degree, obviously, and that's, I don't have one of those copies. I'm hoping it's, let me just see here quick. 1 second. Yeah, I've got one in here. I'm just going to quick look at it so I know what you guys are looking at. Okay. Okay, so then you're going to put, your degree, your major. If you're minoring in anything, make sure that's in there. Concentration. So like, for instance, way back then, they didn't have, I know sales is a major here. At Northern, they didn't have that, and I don't believe they do right now, so it was an emphasis. So I put emphasis in sales, okay? And that was important because I was looking for a sales type of position, okay? Obviously, where you're going to school, you want to see that. When you're graduating, that is something. And so this is what I'm talking about, you guys. Make sure that you've got the person that's reading your resume interested in reading all the way down. For instance, do not put, like your leadership skills first, and then your jobs and your college at the bottom. Do not do that. Don't put where you're going to school at the bottom, because I don't want to go through your whole resume and get excited about all the experience that you have and then find out he didn't graduate and I can't even hire you now because you don't have a college degree. Some people will do that. So keep the reader interested. Let them see what you're again, they want to see what they're looking for first. Okay, they graduated. What's their major? When are they graduating? Again, GPA, don't put that on there unless it's 3 point or above. Okay? Otherwise, just leave it off. And if you're applying for other jobs, you'll know that do require that. You'll know by talking to them or doing their research. But as far as my company goes, I don't even want to see it if it's below that. In fact, I don't care if it's a 4.0. I won't even look at it, to be honest with you. But some others will. So, okay. Again, the one other thing a lot of people will do for filler, and it's really unnecessary, is they'll put the classes they're attending. You don't need to put the classes. That's just a waste of time, okay? Because I really don't know anything about what classes you're taking, or I don't care about it. I just want to know that you're on your way to getting that college degree, okay? All right, so moving on to work experience. All of this, make sure that you have the title of your position, the name of the organization, location of the company, make sure the date of employment, and then description of experience, okay? So this is where, and I don't have a lot of these, but I'll give, again, these out to you. This is huge. Make sure that you have action words listed under each bullet. And don't use the same ones after each bullet using, achieved. Mix it up. And I've got some here. So I can pass these out as well to give to you guys to use. Got it? Again, I can email you these if there's not enough. And if you want some, take one of my cards back there. I didn't know how many people were going to be here.
Actually, I've put some of this.
Okay, back to what we were talking about quickly. You know, again, I know a lot of you are, you know, getting ready to graduate, well, or are on your way to graduating, I should say. So you've got time yet. So again, in one end, I want to say, you know, congratulations on getting there and graduating once you do. But you've just met the minimum requirement, and what I mean by that is if you don't have any work experience that's related to what you're looking for, it's going to be really tough. It doesn't mean you can't get a job. It just means that you might have to wait, you know, a year, because I require 1 year at least of sales experience for our position, among other things, one being a college degree. But a college degree just does not get you a job at Enterprise Rent-A-Car. You have to have some other things there. So again, that's why I stress that. It's so important that you have leadership experience here on campus, you're involved in some organizations, or you get a job that is tailored towards what you're looking for, okay? So, use those action words when you're using your bullet points to describe some of the things that you did while you were at work and so forth. And again, make sure it's all relevant, things that I want to know about. If you wash dishes, I mean, really, I don't care about that. I know that comes along with, you know, working at a restaurant and so forth. I want to know about, you know, your upselling, your suggestive selling, your, you know, awards for customer service and things along those lines, okay? Those are the things that are going to catch my eye. All right. Again, as far as jobs go, if it's not relevant, and we talked about this to what you're looking for, don't even put it on there. But you have to be careful with the gaps in there, okay? So if it's not relevant, that's okay to leave it out. There's going to be a gap, but you have to be ready to explain why that gap's in there, okay? If there's been a lot of jobs where you've only had it for a short time, you guys are pretty much golden because you're in college, so it's okay because they know that you've obviously are in school, then you got the summers off and you've got things going on, and you maybe had to quit a job because you're really focused on studying, or you took a leadership role with your sorority, fraternity, or business organization or whatnot. So again, recruiters, employers are going to know that, and you got to be able to explain that to them as well. Okay? Alrighty. Then again, additional experiences, and I'm kind of a little bit ahead of my notes here, but is leadership roles you've been involved in. One of the questions that I ask in an interview is about your leadership responsibilities on campus and off campus. And again, this is one of the things that sounds, again, some people don't think about this, but a lot of you do group projects now, right? So in that, when you have those group projects, there's usually always somebody. In fact, I don't think I've ever had an interview where they've said, no, I never had anyone that didn't pull weight or was a slacker. Everybody participated, everybody did really well. Wow, you're lucky, because that usually, there's always one. And what we're looking for here is, how did you handle that situation? Did you step up? Were you a leader? So something as simple as that can be talked about in an interview. Okay, on how you handled it. Did you, and what, and I'm looking for a certain specific answer on that. You know, if you're going to tell me that you just decided I didn't want to deal with it, I needed an A in the class, you know, a lot of people think that's what the recruiter wants to hear. I needed an A and I was worried about my grade. I just pulled all the weight and I did it myself. That's not what I want to hear. I want to hear that you were able to have that tough conversation with that certain someone, and that you were able to, you know, motivate that person, help them out to pull their own weight and to help out as far as the team goes. Because again, at Enterprise, as a manager, if you're going to always if that means that you're going to always, as a manager, take on, you know, your other employees' responsibilities that aren't motivated, as a manager, you've got a lot more responsibilities that you got to take care of, and you've got to be able to delegate, and you've got to be able to show that you're the leader of that branch. You've got to be able to, you know, motivate your employees with incentives or, you know, again, recognition. So those are some of the things. So the interview is not a trick question, but we want to see what you're doing. So again, that's leadership. Are you involved in the organizations and so forth? So include military experience on there, community involvement. Make sure that that's on there. If you've got some of that, that's all stuff that you can put on your resume and that we want to see. When I talked about the GPA, one of the reasons that I said I don't want to see, I don't really look at it because I want a well-rounded person, okay? And most companies do. Now, again, if you're looking at engineering, they may want the 4.0. But at my company, I'm looking for somebody. I would rather take somebody that has a lesser GPA, but has a lot more leadership, a lot more relevant work experience than somebody that has a 4.0 and has nothing on there. Because when it comes to talking to people, if they spend all their time, now I'm not telling you guys to go home and tell your parents that you don't have to have the perfect GPA, because, but what I am saying is that if you can't multitask and get that good grade along with other things, then you're probably not well-rounded. And you're probably going to struggle at a job that's very fast-paced, that you have to multitask, prioritize, and so forth. So if you're focused on one thing, and that's getting to the library and only studying, and you don't have anything else on your plate / resume, then I'm taking the person that's got a lesser GPA. Okay? That's with our company. So does that all make sense? Okay. So again, include Dean's List, scholarships, Honor Society, make sure all that's on there. That goes at the bottom under your awards and honors. Okay? So those things you want to put on there. Professional skills, if you know a different language, some people put it on there, and I'm not telling you shouldn't, but computer skills, with our company, I don't really care about computer skills. I don't care how fast you can type. Some others may. So that's just something, I'm just going to tell you or speak for our company. Okay, now we're on to references. Again, I think I told you guys this already, and you probably already knew this. You don't need a reference page. Just all you need to do at the bottom is references available upon request. Is that on there? Does that show that to you? At the very bottom? Okay, at the very bottom of that, you would just put references available upon request at the very, very bottom, okay? Centered. Then a lot of times everything is going online. So that's why a lot of people won't ask for references, because when you apply online, they'll ask for them then, and then you can put them. Because again, when we put you through the interview process, I won't call on any of your references until we're at the last stage. And basically it's just to make sure that we'll call one of your last employers to make sure that you really indeed worked there, that you're not just fluffing your resume and saying that you have some type of sales position when really didn't. And then also that you did your college, obviously. We'll want to know that because we'll call. We have an outside company that will call and make sure that you actually did indeed graduate. Okay? So, but until then, don't worry about it. When you do have to get the references, if you are asked to get them, make sure that you've called the person that you put on your reference sheet, because it will make you look so bad if some employer calls there, talks to them, and they're like, and they're off guard and they didn't know, they weren't aware that you put them on there. So just make sure that, even send them a quick email is fine.
I usually in the past have actually given my referees a copy of my application so they know the job ad and
Sure.
what I'm claiming, and it
Yep.
helps them sell me up.
Sure. Okay. That's a good idea. Absolutely.
Gives them content.
Yeah. So you're kind of setting them up for it, right? Okay. Resume design. You're going to do the 8.5 by 11. Get resume paper. I don't know why it drives me nuts, but it does. And this will happen at the career fair, but they're just shuffling through, pulling stuff out, fumbling through, and the paper's all wrinkled, and it's totally not even resume paper. And it's just this cheap old stuff that they quickly printed off. And I've just already got a bad taste at that point. I mean, it's just like, really, you're not even prepared. So make sure that you do. I know it's expensive, but again, it's what's going to get you that interview, and that's what you're looking for. So spend that extra money, invest in the resume paper, okay? You don't want, again, anything that's crazy colored. Just do white or off-white ivory, okay, is my recommendation. Black ink. You don't need colored ink. Make sure that the font size is between 10 and 14. If you don't have a whole lot of information on there, I'm sure you all have a lot. It's just trying to remember it and dig it out. And like I said, I was trying to give you some examples. Use that one. If you can't think of something, give me a call and we'll work through it and we'll get you a full page. But you don't want 1820 font on there to make sure that the page is full. Okay. Stick with one typeface. Make sure that it's not all funky and, you got some things in italics, other in script and all that kind of stuff. Make sure that it's, again, easy to read and I can find what I'm looking for. Don't use horizontal, vertical lines, graphics, pictures, or shading on it. Okay? You all know not to staple it, right? Do not staple it. There shouldn't be anything you're stapling because I don't need a reference sheet. You can make one if you want. I mean, I'm not telling you that that's going to hurt you if you have one. That's perfectly fine. But we don't need 2 sheets of paper. It should fit on one page. So.
What about a cover letter?
Oh, that's a great point, actually. Yes, still, you do not want to staple it. Because a lot of times they'll feed them through. I know State Farm feeds a lot of theirs through. And so then they're taking the staples off or they can't get it through because of that. So just make sure that you don't staple it with the cover letter as well.
What do you mean by feed it through?
They'll feed it through some machine. We don't do it, but I know that they'll do some, and it scans it into their system and so forth. Yeah.
If you have 2 pages for some reason, do you have to put the name on the top on the second page?
No, I don't believe so. I don't know. I don't look at 2-page resumes. I mean, I've never done one. I'm not sure. It's a good question. If you have to, I don't believe you do. I'm almost positive that you don't. But I'm not 100% positive. Okay, cover letter. I'm going to touch briefly on this because I don't even really read a cover letter, to be quite honest with you. It's way too much. But again, do your research. Find out. Some companies really want a cover letter. You can call and ask right before, do you prefer a cover letter? Again, this is a whole nother presentation. But again, if you don't know what to wear to that interview, make sure that you call. Some would think Enterprise is very casual, but actually we're very professionally dressed. We require a business suit, tie, a suit for the ladies and so forth. So make sure that you call and, again, you don't want to look undressed if they do, in fact, want you to wear a suit. And you don't want, you can never go wrong with wearing a suit. Always, dress for the job that you're looking for. Okay, but call. Same thing with cover letter. If you don't know, you can call them. But a cover letter basically explains why you're interested in the position and what you can do and how you fit the job. Okay? So at that point is when you're going to want to really describe relevant skills that you have in that cover letter. And then again, tell them why that you're applying for that position and how you can be an excellent fit and why they should consider you. Okay, so it's really quick. It's a brief, it's maybe 3 paragraphs long. Again, when writing a cover letter, visit the company's website to get some information on it. Personalize a cover letter with appropriate business contact name. So make sure when you're doing a cover letter, it is more personal and that you know who is going to be reading that cover letter so you can address it to the appropriate person, okay? I don't have a whole lot on cover letters. Again, and I have some websites that I can have you guys go to, or your career center can even help you out with cover letters, but as far as that goes, that's about all I'm going to give you on cover letters. All right, we're about done here. Again, the last thing really that I wanted to talk about is online applications. We've gone to that, and I know a lot of companies have gone to that. So again, as I stated at the beginning of the presentation, it's one of the things that I'm glad I don't have to do one now. I always have mine updated for the next position within Enterprise because you always want to have your resume ready for even the company that you're working for. So if you've got some achievements, some awards and so forth, plug those into your resume. So you haven't been in one position for 5-6 years and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I want to put in for this position. I don't remember what I should put. So that's why it's a good thing to always update your resume. But a resume, like I said, takes a while. There's all this proofreading, 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 proofreading. There's these critiques that you go to. There's these presentations that you're sitting in right now to learn how to write a resume. And I feel horrible, but you know, again, it's one of those things that's needed, and it's what's going to get you that interview. But now that you've got the online applications, a lot of them want you to attach that resume to that. When you're filling out your online application, it's usually going through a screening process. I know ours is, it'll ask you these assessment questions. And if you don't have the requirements that we're looking for, it kicks it out to me and says this person is does not qualify. So then basically what I do is I go in and click all those, and I quickly send you out an email, and then we're done. It's sad, but it's true. When you have hundreds and thousands of resumes that you're looking at, that's what we have to do it that way. But we're still going to take a peek at your resume online, and we're still going to look at your online application. So fill that out completely. Again, when it asks for, some of the stuff, if you have your resume already done, which most of you will if you're applying for a job online, a lot of that transfers right over. It'll ask, so just look at your resume, take those skills, and put it right back into the online application, okay? Because so many times people think, oh, I'm not filling this out, they won't look at it. But I have to send them an email back saying, I cannot process your application until you fill it out completely. So now you're just wasting time, okay? Have any of you had to fill out an online application? Okay. All right. Let's see here. All right, so let me give you these two websites, jobweb.org to go to for some additional resume resources, and then provenresumes.com. Did anybody need me to repeat that? Good? Okay. All right. First of all, I want to thank you all so much for being here. And I know that you're going to do a great job in your interview search, your resume, writing your resume. Obviously, you're on the right track. If you spent 45 minutes here with me today, trying to figure out how to do this. I've got cards back there. If any of you have if you want to email me your resume, I'll be happy to look at it. If you're struggling with some things on what to put on there, how to get the words out right so it sounds good, I'll be more than happy to help you with that. Again, look at those action words. Those are things that I definitely recommend you put on your resume. And if you have any other questions, I've got some enterprise information back there. Enterprise, just to quickly give you some info on about our job opportunities. We do hire interns in the summer. We've got a lot of positions. Obviously, we just got done with our last summer internship program, and we're starting to recruit and look again. So we've got that fair coming up on Friday. Stop by, say hello. I'll look at your resume there as well if you'd like. And then we also have a management trainee program that we hire it's entry level, so a lot of college grads come straight from college, and that we're hiring for at all times. But our summer program is for the interns, and that can be juniors and senior status, okay? All right, thanks you guys. Any questions? I'll take questions if you have any.
I have questions if
Okay.
anybody else has. Just mine are, I've obviously got a lot of work experience, and so that one page limit things
Mm-hmm.
and gaps in your career and stuff. Now, I'm going back to university and retraining in a nearly completely different area.
Okay.
Of course, previous experience will have developed skills that will transfer. So I've got a degree, done work in natural resources. Now I'm going into psychology, more likely HR sort of stuff.
Okay.
So I will have done plenty of things. So
Does that job, what you've done in the past, though, relate to anything that you're going to school for now?
no,
Okay, so
like a degree in agriculture and
Okay.
a graduate diploma in environmental management stuff, and now psychology.
Okay.
Completely different. But of course, in any job, there are skills that are transferable. And I was pulled into HR projects while I was in those jobs.
Mm-hmm.
So, getting to my point is being able to, in one page, put down my work experience where I've had 2 decades of work, where my decision was never to be in a job for more than 3 years.
Okay.
I choose to move on.
Okay.
So I've worked, and admittedly, sometimes just for the same organisation, 3 jobs in a row. how do you do that? 20 years. I haven't even tried looking at how many jobs. I mean, 12 jobs. Not that many, but it's in one page without leaving gaps.
Well, I'm assuming that a lot of it is not going to be relevant to what you're looking for now, correct?
No, except if I'm wanting to reference jobs. So if I'm applying for a HR job and I want to reference the fact that I've done these HR activities in those previous jobs.
Okay, then I would put it, you can have gaps. It's absolutely okay, because if that stuff is not relevant, if you've got a job that was not at all relevant, I don't really even want to see it.
So if there was a 5-year gap for
Sure.
2 jobs.
Yes, that's my recommendation.
No problem.
No, because then you're going to probably leave something out that I really want to see. And so if you do have a gap in there because that job just was not relevant, that's what I was saying, that you want to make sure that you can explain any gaps in employment. They're going to have some gaps in their employment as well because of being in college and so forth, and having, maybe they didn't work this summer, or they didn't continue on, or they went back to school, so they quit that job. So you're going to have to explain gaps in your resume.
Summer, like I would think nothing of 3 months missing, but 6 years, 7 years missing. Here in America, I'm not allowed to work. I'm legally not allowed to work. It's going to be 4.5 years, big gap.
And I still think that's okay, because if you're going to put everything in chronological order, and you've got all these, I'm looking through like 2 or 3 pages, and there's some jobs that are not even relevant, like I said, to what I'm looking at, I wouldn't even put it in there. I'd rather see that gap, and I'll call you and talk to you about it, because if I see some good solid experience, then you've got me interested, and I want to talk to you about it.
So you wouldn't put anything on there, because in Australia, gap gets turfed.
Not here.
Seriously.
No.
I mean, I've been on with So
Yeah.
there's another principle, is that different rules for different countries.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
the career
Absolutely.
objective, for
Yeah.
example, in Australia, I started doing that because I was using American advice books. In Australia, they were saying, don't do that.
Oh,
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Career objective.
Yeah.
So obviously there needs to be some.
Again, and I'm speaking on behalf of, on what we,
And that's
yep.
fine.
Yeah, and I don't have time to sit and read through things that I'm like, this doesn't have anything to do with what I'm going to hire for. But I have other things, and so if I keep seeing, and then I do see some gaps in there, yeah, we're going to call you and we're going to talk to you about it, and that's going to be one of the questions. That's not, maybe might not even be the first question, because that doesn't automatically reject you from a job.
Wow, okay. Yeah, sorry, I thought you might have had some hints.
No. Yeah, well, my hint, no. I wouldn't have 2, 3 pages. Absolutely not.
Simply leave it out.
Yes.
Good.
Yep.
Easy.
Yep, that's what I would do. Anything else? Okay, feel free to grab some information. My business cards are back there. Thanks for spending the evening with me. I hope it was helpful. Take care, guys.